Welcome to Closer to Venus. Today's guest is Manish Khernar. He is a hypnotherapist and a past life regression specialist. Manish, welcome to Closer to Venus. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Johnny. Thanks for having me.
Now, you are a clinical hypnotherapist, and your practice is actually a past life regression therapy center, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into that work, how you describe as the spiritual and existential path?
I actually never decided to be a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I was an engineer. And around 15 years back, I decided I should stop doing my technical work. I should leave my job and follow my inner calling.
Okay.
That is to go to some kind of spiritual service to the society. Yeah. And eventually I happened to meet a lot of sadhus and saints and happened to come across a lot of books. I did a lot of practices also. It was actually a cosmic wish.
I like that. Cosmic wish.
Yeah. And I became a hypnotherapist one day.
Was there any particular event or chain of events that made you want to think, I'm going to follow my inner calling rather than follow the corporate, i.e. technical work path?
Yeah. See, what used to happen in corporate world is I was not finding that I'm giving that value addition which I can give, because it's a huge group. It is working in a corporate is like traveling in a train. Even if you sit or even if you run, you will reach at the same time, right? So I wanted to run. I wanted to make a difference, which I was not able to do. So it was a suffocation. Since childhood, I had the spiritual inclination, but I never thought to have it professionally. But it happened actually. Now I can understand that even just a small therapy is a cosmic event.
So you call it a cosmic event.
Yeah, one small therapy is also a cosmic event. You won't believe that. Even I'm going on holidays or in railways or on airports, I happen to meet people who share their issues. I take sessions there and there, and it just their problems got solved. I do not know anything about their history. I probably might not remember their names also. And I'm not that superpower that I can change people's life. I can keep meeting people and keep changing their lives. I'm not that superhuman, but it happens with a cosmic will. Something which comes from me that you should give this suggestion, you should give this, you should use this word, and it will make some changes, and it happens. So it is completely intuitive. If therapy itself is such a huge cosmic event, then becoming a therapist is definitely a far more bigger cosmic event, right?
It sounds like that type of connection is just that. It fosters a deeper connection with people around you. Am I right?
Yeah. What I understand is we have a conscious mind, right? Beneath that, we have a subconscious mind. Beneath that, we have an unconscious mind. And under that, beneath that unconscious mind, we have a super unconscious mind, which is connected. We all are connected at that collective unconscious level.
Right. We have read about that over here in the Western world as well. Is that a reference to one of your principles of your practice, which means we are not just a physical body, there are several layers of human existence? Yes. Right. So the superconscious is just another level which connects all of us.
See, superconscious or collective unconscious or collective conscious are layers of minds.
Okay.
But when I'm saying different layers of our existence, mind is one layer. In that, all the layers of minds are included. So physical body is one layer, mind is another layer. After that, intellect, vivek, what we call it in Hindi, vivek. It is intellect. Okay. Then consciousness, and then prana, and then we need ego to keep all these 6 layers connected with each other.
Okay, that's a little bit different than the way we understand it. So let me see if I follow you. Prana plus Atama and Ahankara.
First physical body.
Right,
then,
plus mind.
Then mind. Then comes intellect.
Is that similar to the id, the ego, and the superego, or is that something completely different?
It is not the ego which was defined by Sigmund Freud. This is a kind of self-identification. I think if someone slaps me, I'll slaps my chick. I'll say someone has slapped me because I'm self-identified with my body.
Okay.
I think I am my body. That is self-identity, right? So if anything happens with my body, that ego makes me feel that it has happened to me only, right? That is the function of ego. Without ego, we cannot exist because my mind will not be able to understand that this is my body, and body will not able to understand this is my intellect, and so everything will be scattered.
Okay.
So ego is very much important for our existence on earth, right?
Yes, indeed it is. And I've taken the liberty of taking some of your notes from your practice, like the one that you just mentioned. There's another one that I really like. Now we are actually part of a larger group, and there must be a lot of powers who take care of us and ensure us that we finish our task, what we're supposed to do here on earth, as soon as possible, that they keep creating situations which are good for us in the longer run.
Right.
Okay, so the next question, if that's true, why is there pain and suffering in life?
Because pain is the easiest way to drive us in some direction, right? If pleasure comes, then we might not be driven by pleasure. If something painful happens, then I'll run fast. So that is why universe has to arrange pains for us. For example, if your physical body needs your urgent attention, how your body will communicate that to you? It will create a pain signal, right? If your body will create pleasure signal, you will not pay immediate attention, right?
Exactly. You'll
So
be
if my
content.
body wants my immediate attention and immediate action, my body has to create a pain signal. So pain signal is nothing but a call for attention.
Okay.
PAIN, pain. That means pay attention inward now. It's a call for attention. And we have 7 different layers, and all 7 layers at different points of time needs our attention.
Makes sense.
Right. If my mind needs my attention, my mind will also create pain signal. That pain signal will be different than my physical body's pain signal. Right? Are you getting me?
Yes, I do. And before I forget, you just mentioned 7 layers. What did the
Yeah.
7 layers mean?
I just told na, physical body, mind, then
Intellect.
intellect, then consciousness, then prana, then
Okay.
atama and ahankara. Right?
Okay.
All these 7 layers, when whichever layer needs my attention,
Okay.
it will create appropriate pain signal. Right? I'm a hypnotherapist. My job is to deal with mind. Right? So whenever someone has to deal with a pain signal created by mind, then I come into the picture. So pain signal from mind can be related with emotions or overthinking or bad imaginations, bad creativity, limiting beliefs. All these are pain signals created by mind. They are created just to take your attention. Mind wants to grab your attention that, hey, please come and do something for me. But
Okay.
unfortunately, how we deal with the pain, we just try to distract ourselves from the pains.
Yes, we do. Without a doubt. Many distractions.
So actually, the pain is a postman sent by universe, and the postman is so much sincere that he will give you the message, even if you distract yourself. But he will send you the message anyway.
Okay.
So the more we will keep ourselves distracting, the more the pain will keep on increasing. And eventually it might get transferred to your energy body, it might get transferred to your physical body. And that is how the psychosomatic pains are coming into picture. The more we will distract ourselves, more we will invite the psychosomatic diseases.
So distractions can lead to psychosomatic conditions. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Let me explain you in much detail. See, suppose I have discomforting emotion.
Mhm.
Right? I'll use the word discomforting emotion because there is nothing called good emotion or bad emotion, because emotions are just signals sent from the universe, right?
Okay.
So suppose there is one discomforting emotion is there. What am I supposed to do? I am supposed to talk to that emotion. I should decode that emotion. I should be thankful to that emotion. Hey, thanks, postman, for coming. Please give me your message, and I'll read that message and I should act accordingly, right? That is what is supposed to be done by me. But how I handle it, how we handle it,
Because everybody handles it differently.
and initial distractions are entertainment, reading books, going out with friends. On all those are primary level of distraction, right?
Mhm.
But that cycle keeps on and on and on. We keep applying distractions, but that discomforting emotion is there, so it will keep haunting us again and again,
Mhm.
and eventually it will start creating stress in us, right? So stress itself is not a pure discomforting emotion. Stress is a signal that you have not handled some discomforting emotion properly.
Interesting.
And how we deal with stress? We use costly distractions.
Hmm.
So we'll go on world tour and we will do a lot of costly stuff to
Right.
get rid of stress. But as we have not entertained that postman, it will keep haunting us again and again, again and again.
Until we actually try to resolve it.
And eventually, what we will get is frustration also, right? And how we deal with
Distractions lead to stress, and stress leads to even more problems, obviously.
and one day we will be frustrated. What the hell is happening with me? Why I'm not getting any solution,
All
right?
right.
And how we deal with frustration? We go for dangerous distractions, like
Yes, that's true.
we'll do hookups or substance or even suicide attempts.
Speaking of,
Dangerous distractions.
so we have distractions and we have symptoms and so forth. Speaking of this, symptoms, issues, distractions, stress, when you have a patient, right, and they come in, they say, Manish, these are my issues, my symptoms, my back pain, and so on. Can you walk us through how you do a past life regression, whether it's through hypnosis or meditation or maybe even one of both?
I do not work like that. I talk to that discomforting emotion because what my philosophy is, every pain is a messenger. So let the messenger lead us to the solution, right? Rather than I impose my thing because mind is a huge space. Searching something in mind is like searching a needle
Haystack.
in the Amazon jungle. It's such a huge space. When I enter into the therapy, I enter without any kind of preconceived notion. Even if it is a very simple case, I will not enter with any kind of preconceived notions. I'll allow my agenda will be just to tap that discomforting emotion and talk to that discomforting emotion. And
Mm-hmm.
that emotion will lead us in past. And where is the root of that emotion? It can be in childhood, it can be in your dream, it can be in your pre-birth, it can be womb stage, I say, and it can be in your past life or whatever it is. In my case, that pain itself takes us. I never decide that I'm going to do past life regression.
So you didn't decide to do that, but by talking someone through their emotions and their discomfort and so on,
Yeah.
you're saying that could sometimes lead you back to the origin, which could be in this life or childhood, and
Yes.
sometimes it goes into a previous life.
Yes.
That's pretty consistent from accounts that I've read about, talked to people about, where in their casework, they don't always go back to a past life. It just depends on what the origin of the issue is or when it started. That seems
Yes.
pretty consistent.
That's called initial sensitization event.
When you're in one of these sessions, do you know whether you're in the current life or do you know immediately if you brought them back into a past life?
That client communicates to us that he or she is finding himself in some different kind of space and time, and
Mm-hmm.
they are in different kind of clothes, a different place where they have never been. So then I assume it is a past life.
That would make a lot of sense. Now, when someone tells you about dreams that they've had where they're in a place where they have not been to physically, but it's familiar, and the people that they've seen, again, they don't know them from this life, but the people are very familiar. Is that a legitimate past life memory?
Yes, it should be. See, there cannot be any logical explanation of this.
Right.
We assume it because it is the simplest way to understand it.
If you're dreaming about a certain place with certain people and you've never met them, like I've never met them as Johnny Burke, but they are immediately familiar, and the place, even though I've not been there, is immediately familiar, can we assume that is from another
Yes.
lifetime? It's really, really interesting stuff. I've come to learn that there are several different methods to access the past life memories. One is obviously hypnosis, and another is meditation. But what you've just described is actually not necessarily either, but just talking about issues, which brings them back, and they are not currently hypnotized. Am I right?
No, they are in trance. See, the advantage of trance is the imaginative capacity and memory recall capacity is enhanced in during trance.
Right. But a trance like state is a little bit different than being hypnotized, or is there kind of a gray area?
Being in trance means we are in a state where we are not either awake nor we are asleep. But yes, we are aware. Rather, we are more aware than what we used to be during our daytime. We're more aware in trance rather than what we used to be in awake state.
The trance-like state, I believe, is how Edgar Casey did a lot of his readings.
I think he used to have some supernatural powers.
He might have indeed. Because I don't think anybody can just lay down on a couch and then wake up 20 minutes later and say, Manish, you lived back in the court of King Henry VIII, and before that you lived in ancient Egypt, and then before that you lived in Atlantis.
I don't have any psychic power, I would say.
You don't really need psychic power to access past memories, obviously.
Yes.
When we talk about things here in the Western world about reincarnation and past lives, a lot of us are brought up in a Catholic or Protestant or some type of Christian upbringing where we're taught that hardly anybody ever talks about reincarnation and never in church.
Yes.
But for those of us who want to learn more about the world and how it really works, we often, myself included, we tend to get Hinduism and Buddhism confused when we talk about reincarnation. What are the main differences between Hinduism and Buddhism regarding reincarnation and the wheel of karma and so forth?
This is not my subject. See, I don't want to comment anything on any religion. My point is just I'm taking people into trance.
Mm-hmm.
I follow their emotional pains. I follow their mental pains. Mm-hmm. And at times they happen to be in some other time and place where they find something similar, something connected with their present issue.
Mm-hmm.
If we resolve that pain in that time and space, the person gets healed in present life. That's it. Whether it is past life or is it not a past life, I don't want to go into that. I'm a therapist and my job is to make people feel good. That's it. It is not about, even if you believe, I have done past life of many people who do not believe in any kind of reincarnation and stuff. I don't ask them to believe in reincarnation or something. See, whatever we believe is true.
Right.
So if you do not believe, then there are different ways to explain this.
I think from what I've gathered when I talk to professionals, therapists, psychologists, researchers, a lot of them do seem to agree that the religion component does actually kind of get in the way. But at the same time, they acknowledge that there's bits and pieces from different belief systems around the world that actually do make sense, but then some of it kind of gets in the way. So it's a little complicated. The reason I bring up Hinduism and Buddhism is because they accept reincarnation.
See, we should not mix this thing with religion and everything. This is something, I would say this is a gift. And people are getting rid of their issues, not just their issues, but they are becoming more wise in their life.
Okay.
The wonderful thing about pain is, the pain related with mind is, when you heal some pain, that pain gets converted into wisdom. And that wisdom, every pain is hidden wisdom. And every wisdom is a healed pain. That wisdom becomes part of the layer of our intellect. So the more we will heal our pain related with mind, the more our soul will be wise. The more our intellect will be enriched. And that is precisely what I believe is the motive of this life, to make our intellect more and more enriched. So one day we will have so highly intellectual soul that we can experience everything without any kind of judgment. See, the judgment is limitation of our intellect, right? The more we will be intellectual, the less we will judge, right?
The more we're intellectual, the less we judge. Okay. All right.
So one day our soul will be so wise that we will not judge anything. And that is what is the purpose of our life. And that is what Buddha also have said, which is called superconscious state. Superconscious state means you are experiencing the life without any kind of belief or any kind of judgment.
You just are. You're just in the moment. You're just experiencing.
Yes. From my point of view, this is what is called mukti or moksha in Hinduism. Which means we are getting relieved, right?
Of the burdens.
From a prison. And the prison is what? Prison is made up of our beliefs and our judgments. We are prisoners of our own beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And life is a process to get rid of all these beliefs. From my point of view, there is no good belief or bad belief. Belief is a belief, and we have to get rid of every belief.
So you have to get rid of all beliefs. So what happens when you have your patients, your clients, and they go through this process and they heal some of their issues? When they ask you about the next life, how do you respond to that?
Saying about future progression.
Exactly. When I get wiser, talking about wisdom and becoming more developed spiritually.
How I use it is just to check whether the belief has completely healed or not. The pain has completely healed and the pain has transformed into wisdom or not. I ask them to imagine themselves after a month and handle the similar situation what they are facing issues in past, to see how they are actually reacting. And without their belief, how their life is going to be after 6 months, after 4 years, after 5 years. And this is amazing. If you just think about one belief, if I ask you to close your eyes and imagine any one limiting belief of yours, go imagine you are standing in front of a mirror and the mirror is traveling to 6 months in future, and just gauge what this limiting belief has done damage to your life in these 6 months, and then go even further, 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, and you won't believe people are scared, so much scared, they refuse to go more than 10 years because they can see that this limiting belief has done so much damage to me just in 10 years. So it is time to get rid of this belief any time, because it is like a ship is traveling in an open ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you just tilt that just by 1 degree, after few miles you are miles away from your destination, right?
Right. Yes.
So it is just to realize people that this one belief, the change of one belief can take a lot of shift in your life. I'm using it this way. It is not about predicting future or something.
Limiting beliefs are like almost like an albatross, something hanging around your neck, weighing you
Yeah.
down. That's what it seems like to me. And many beliefs, if not the bulk of them, are limiting in many ways, including the religious beliefs, which, again, that's probably a story for another day, but I definitely get your meaning about getting rid of the beliefs. It could take a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe several lifetimes. Manish, what are the main points? I know we've already gone over several of them, but what are the main points, the main takeaways our listeners should be aware of regarding your work?
The main thing is we have a center called Swa-Darshana.
Mm-hmm.
The meaning of Swa-Darshana is a Sanskrit word. The meaning of it is Swa means self and Darshana means to see yourself, to meet yourself, to analyze yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Swa-Darshana means to analyze yourself. If I am saying the life is not good, if life is bad or some person is bad or some situation is creating pain inside me,
Mm-hmm.
then it is not about the situation, it is about me. It is time to look inside. At least as far as the pains related with mind are concerned, we must look inside. We must do Swadarshana. That is what the crux of whatever I have done.
I really like these type of discussions because, again, it's very different from what we experience here in the Western world, and it definitely gives us some new perspective. I'd like to thank you for joining us today and
My pleasure.
sharing your work and your views. How can our listeners find you online?
They can type my name, Manish Khernar, on Google.
Mm-hmm.
They can type Swa-Darshana, Swadarshana.
Do you have a Facebook group as well?
Yeah. I have Swa-Darshana Hypnotherapy Facebook page also. We are on Instagram, we are on YouTube also.
Excellent.
Self-discovery with Manish Khernar.
I've got your links, and I will definitely post all of them in the show notes. And again, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
You've been listening to the Closer to Venus podcast. I'm Johnny Burke. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.